We are so happy to share with you about our trip to Chicago. Chris, Bill, and myself just returned. Oh, we've been back for a week.
Yeah, for a week.
And we had this was a great trip. We've done a lot of receptions up north. I just feel like these events all went very, very well, and in great part because of our member support. So we are so appreciative of that. But I thought, guys, if this works good, why don't we each maybe chat about one of the events. We'll each take event, talk about Joliet. I'll talk about Decatur, and Bill, how about Medina? And we'll just kind of give you, we're not going to bore you, we'll just give you a little snapshot of what happened so you can better understand what our receptions are about.
Yeah, a little quick overview. But first off, before we get started, the first thing we got to do is say thanks to Jeff Perdue, who hosted us out there at Chicago Highlands. And he and his wife Colin are doing really well. And I thought, those of our members who were here when he was here would like to know that he's got a great spot out there out in Elk Grove outside Chicago. And if you're up there, you can go see him. Be great. But again, thanks, Jeff. We appreciated all your hospitality.
Yeah, he's doing great. It was so nice to see.
Yeah.
And another one of our former head golf professionals. We also got to play some golf with him.
That's true. We went to Medina, played number 3 with Mike Scully, who several of you know was here years and years ago. Had a wonderful time there with him. Of course, got to play the course the Ryder Cup will be on next year, so that was fantastic. Wonderful day.
That was awesome. And what else about Medina? We had some great members behind the event, new members, Dr. Asselmeyer and Mrs. Asselmeyer.
That's correct. Yeah, Medina was the first one we did, and our hosts, of course, Dr. and Mrs. Asselmeyer and Rick Tarsitano were the hosts, but it was also great to see the Bennetts and the Olds and the Stamers and Mr. Santangelo, Mrs. Gilbert, Denny Cowie, and, of course, the Porterfields. And we had a great interaction. Thank you. I remember these things. It's amazing. And we had a great time. We did a lot of interaction, a lot of great questions, and our members really did a great job of kind of standing up and representing the forest very, very well. So it was very, very well attended. I think about 42 people came to it, and we really had a great time. So we thank them for all that.
Absolutely.
Yep. In Decatur, we actually had about 20 more. So we had 60 between members and guests. 40 were guests. And that was a great turnout. That was a big event. I thought that was a big event. We used 3 rooms for our cocktailing and our food and our presentation. But we were very thankful to Dan and Sonia Carlson, who were the hosts at Decatur Country Club, with great support from Bill and Marilyn Shuttle and Larry and Darlene Harshbarger. And we also had support from Mrs. Cunningham and Dr. Coolis and Dr. and Mrs. Farrington and the Highs and the Mays and the Tonys, Vitalis, the Hales. We got a few members from Decatur, you think? The Douglases were there, and Mrs. Schwartz and Mr. Forbes was there. So, and what I really took from that event was we got a lot of questions about membership pre and post presentation, but during the presentation, the members gave great testimonials, and they really said what they enjoyed most, whether it was just something specific about golf or tennis, or of course we always hear about the people. But that was really a great presentation, just to be able to hear the members telling the story themselves. But again, the questions were about membership, they're about the discovery, and about the tenant, and you always love to get those inquiries.
Yeah, it's interesting because we also had Mr. Carley there, one of our tennis members, and he brought a couple of younger guys over from Champaign, Illinois, just to talk about golf. I know they're coming down here this season, so that was nice. So we appreciate that, Mr. Carley, coming over.
Yes, thank you.
And obviously playing golf, Dr. Farrington, thank you very much. That was fun. Nice golf course there in Decatur, and then we went back up to Joliet. Got to meet with Bill Greiner up there, play some golf in the morning there, and that was fun. For me mostly, because for once I get to beat both of them. That was a treat just by itself.
Bad day.
Exactly. I'm not saying anything about that. I'm just saying, end of the day, low score. Thank you. But again, Bill and Marlene Greiner were our hosts at that one, and it was, again, another good one from the standpoint that we have a lot of members come out and support us, and so they bring their friends and so forth. And the questions that we get at these types of events are always interesting. You never know what they're going to ask, but when you go to a club and you can really tell whether or not these folks are interested in joining a club or not, and I think we got a lot of that on this trip. People who are very interested in joining clubs and have the right questions and show real interest, which was great. So we expect to see a lot of them coming down here, obviously, in the season. But, again, we had a lot of members coming at this one. You know, the Lacey's were there, the Harts came, DeGus, the DeGusses came over, Mr. Marshall, a new member, was there. So, I mean, it was nice to see. And Mr. Reardon was the Senko. I mean, again, we have a lot of members coming out to support us, and that's wonderful. We appreciate all that they do in doing that and bringing their friends, because obviously as a club, we can grow. We want your members. We want your friends, because that's what you want your club to be. So,
and we couldn't do the event. We couldn't do
Exactly
these events
right.
without the
Exactly
members.
right.
So even though there were 125, probably, you know, families that we were in front of at the event, we touched over 200 with invitations.
Absolutely.
So the idea is, you know, whether they were attended the event or they had an RSVP that they couldn't make it, or maybe they just knew that we were there. You know, kind of the story I always say is, you know what, we got to touch a lot of people, because maybe it'll be a dinner party 3 days later, 3 months later, a year later, and somebody will mention, hey, we're going to be going to Florida to look for a place. You know, I bet the Forest name's going to come up, you know, where
Yeah,
we
I
might
agree.
not have, you know, and that's the biggest thing, is we want to just get them here so they can mix with you and play the great golf courses. You know, so I think the word of mouth that we get, the advertising, is
It's
just
invaluable.
invaluable.
Absolutely.
And then the discovery. Again, we talked about that, and we'll end with that, but now all our guests are starting to call us about coming to the Forest this season. We've already made some reservations for next month.
Yep.
So, and they'll be coming throughout the season. So, anything else we should add?
Well, again, we just can't wait to see you all here. Start November. I'm sure everybody's starting to think about coming down and all that, and we can't wait. Definitely, it's been a long summer. It's been a little quiet. So we can't wait to have you come down and start season with us.
All right, thank you.
Thank you much.
Thank you.